Hi, friends. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chris, and I'm here with my sweet friend Camille. We're part of Kingdom Made, and we're here to just have meaningful conversations. So we invite you into our community to share your thoughts, share your encounters. If you have questions, post it in the comment section. Don't forget to hit share, like, and subscribe. And we're just going to have very unscripted candid conversation around the holiday season. What makes it special to you? What are some of your favorite experiences as a child? So here we are. Let's dive in. Okay, friends. So here we are. We're fully engaged. We're fully excited about Christmas and what it means to you. What are some things that you're looking forward to? What's your favorite thought when you think of Christmas? Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, what are some things that stirs you that makes you excited about this season? And I get excited about just the nostalgic feeling that comes to mind when we think of the holidays specifically. So here we are to have some conversations about the miracles that happen, the feeling of love and joy, and this just joyful expectation that comes around the holiday season, where people are smiling more, they're kinder, they're more giving. I think it happened during the holiday season because it's Christmas. Yes.
Chris, I appreciate your energy.
Thank you.
For
Yeah.
for me, Christmas time was very much around being with family. Culturally, we had a dish called pepper pot that I always used to look forward to around this time of year with my granny's homemade bread. And I would eat that for 3 days straight. If you just gave me that with maybe a vegetables to make it feel better, and I'm eating all this meat and bread, it was
Yeah.
really around spending time with family. And we would have these big family gatherings. And my aunts would and uncles would bring these potluck dishes, and we would spend the day together. We would have breakfast together, we would pray together, and then people would go out and visit, or we'll go out, take a walk. Some of the kids would play their toys or whatever they got for Christmas. We would laugh together, sometimes do karaoke, sometimes watch a movie. Then we would eat again, and then people would come and go out of the house of whoever was hosting that year. And then at the end, we would have this big feast. We would redo a family member's home where we would just have like a buffet of food. My uncles would think that they were DJs, so they would play all their oldie goldies and have a dance floor. So we would have big family meals. All the tables would be laid out. We would pray together, bless each other, and watch my uncles try to bust a move and end up dancing. And you would see all these different groups of families. There'd be the ones who would dance the night away, the ones who would just sit and eat, the others who would go away and find a living room and just chat about how their year was and just get caught up in life. And you would have the younger kids go outside and play in the snow. So it was all those relational memories were the things that really stood out for me. I liked how you say there's people who are kinder, but I also saw the other side. There was this mania, especially around materialism. So going into a store, you would see people argue and fighting with each other over parking spots, or
Yeah.
electronics was a big thing. So I remember going, "It's Christmas. Why are you guys like yelling at each other in the aisles over a TV?" So I felt like it brought out the worst and the best in people at the same time. But as a child, just in retrospect, that's kind of what really excited me was family time. How about
Mhm.
you, Chris? I know
I
this
like
is an
that.
area you really love.
I do, because you said something about the pepper pot. Listen, that took me straight back to childhood, where you want to tell our community, our friends, what pepper pot is.
It
What's
is
pepper
a
pot?
pot of deliciousness. It's pressure cooked meat that you use in this oftentimes like a seasoned spiced black sauce. So you could make it with brown sugar, but I prefer or cazareep. It has like this molasses texture to it. And cazareep is like this boiled down cassava. And so you would bring a big pot to boil and just let it simmer with all the meat and the juices. And you would have like cloves, and some people put cinnamon with a little bit of a scotch bonnet to give a little bit of that heat, that spice. And you would cook it. Well, I cooked it for hours because you wanted all that flavor to soak in the meat. And afterwards, you would have this big pot of pretty much meat and sauce and whatever other extra to collect all that goodness. So, bread was often my choice to get the bread soaked with all that delicious sauce. Some people preferred it on rice, but it was definitely a holiday staple in our house that I
Mhm.
really enjoy. So, that's what I'm talking about. And side note, I remember making it for my friend and her son one year, and they had never had it before. Just it was a different cultural experience. And her son has some autism, and part of that is he's very blunt. He will tell you how he feels without reservation. He's just quite direct, which I appreciate. And making that pot for him, he actually turned, he said, I like this. And I went, oh, you're being kind and you're stating that you like this. It must be good.
Oh, that's a good story. I love that. But yeah, that's one of my favorite memories of Christmas in my childhood was that it was this pot of pepper pot. The beautiful thing about pepper pot is that you do not have to refrigerate it. It can just sit on the stove and it just soak in all of the flavor. And it's so good. It's very delicious. And my mother was an excellent cook. Oh my goodness, she creates so much in the kitchen. So I can remember the smell of that, the smell of nice fresh bread. It was heavenly, okay? So I if you can find a recipe online, search it out, make your nice pot of pepper pot and introduce it to your family. They will love you for that. So so pepper pot was a staple in our household too. The other thing about that was I thoroughly loved how my mother would strip the house. And we had a way of where we would keep cards. If someone mailed you a card, you'll keep the card. And then you will clean the walls and then you will make these beautiful design on the wall with the cards. And it does not, I think sometimes they had a mixture of Christmas cards or whatever cards you have. And it speaks to the creativity where we would take anything and make it into something. And so she would design make these beautiful designs on the wall with the Christmas cards. And she would buy fresh bed sheets and we would have Christmas pajamas. And it was never about the gifts. We might have one or two, but it was all about food and family. And she loved her family. So we would all just gather and eat and we would sing. We would go caroling. We would just have a blast during that. And the most important part that I must remember is that we would wake up in the morning, they call it Advent, and we would hear the church bell ringing. So we know it's time to wake up and we would walk to church and we would do novena and just fellowship. And it was the best childhood anyone can have as it relates to engaging Christmas or experiencing Christmas in another culture, of course. And it kind of came as we migrated to the US. It continued, it never changed. So she would always have all the food that you can imagine and you would just be home and fellowship and eat until you can eat anymore. So that was one of the beautiful memories that would always come up for me around Christmas. Even as I grew and had my own family, it's like I would always try to recreate that memory from my childhood, kind of pull it into my adulthood, where you just create this ambiance of love and the warmth and the giving and the kindness and not go over the top with the gift giving, but just remember to keep it Christ centered because it's about Him. It was totally about Christ. And that's how we were raised with just the festivities of the season and just remembering that Christ is the reason for the season, even if he wasn't born on December 25th. Okay. It's just a memory, just creating memory and love and keeping it Christ centered.
Well,
Yeah.
you saying that brings up a question for me. And that is navigating, how have you personally navigated the reality that we're celebrating a birthday that didn't actually happen in this particular time of year? Because I know for myself, as I was beginning to understand some of the origins of Christmas and its replacement of pagan holidays and talking about winter solstice and the plausible reality that Christ was not actually born in December, most likely around September month is more likely when he actually was brought into this realm. I began having some questions about it around, okay, so
Hmm.
what does that mean for what I do with this season? I personally love seeing lights. I appreciated the connections, even though it may have started that way. I love some of the revelations that came with St. Nicholas as an actual saint and what he did for children and bringing elements of that in. There's people who might say, well, it was corrupted over the years and it became more materialistic and it's now lost some of its purposefulness. So you have this different experience with it over the years, depending on your perspective that take it in. For me, a couple years ago, I also had a really dear friend who passed away just around the holiday season. So for some, there's this mix of being around joy and also grief for some to have actual losses in their life or the feeling of not really having what they saw others have based on their own childhood experience. So, bringing that piece of that dialogue, how have you navigated that personally for yourself? Recognizing, different people have different experiences.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what I believe during that season of my life? I knew that it was the Lord carrying me because I couldn't tell you how I was able to kind of put power through it. I'm going to say that power through it. So everything was very robotic. I was very present, but still very absent. So it's putting on a face to say, hey, it's this beautiful season. I'm grieved. How am I showing up for everyone else around me? And I remember having a conversation with one of my sisters for the very first. And I go, well, at least you have your kids. And keep in mind, I had a daughter. So I had to be very, very cautious on how I present because I don't want her to think that, oh, well, you lost a child. You still have one more. I'm still here. And so I would try to just create a sense of balance of where I'm honoring the memory of my son, right? In that moment to say, oh, I remember this, I remember that. I remember his first, I remember the last Christmas with him. I remember all of these things, but still maintaining some sense of joy. Even if it was a spark for a moment, I remember it's there and then it's not there. And so I would sit there engaging in conversation, but my mind was someplace else, just thinking of what life would be like if he was present. And it was almost as if I became a robotic. I was just functioning. And I would want to prepare a meal and just leave it there. Like this is his plate. This is what he because he loves mac and cheese. So I know he would enjoy mac and cheese. So it's there for him. And just not forgetting that although I'm grieved and I'm sad, that there's still hope and there's still life in front of me, and that he's still alive. First, I was always conscious of that. That although he's absent, he's still very present, and so I would honor the thought and the feelings as they come up, even if I needed to run into the restroom and cry for a bit. But I came back out with a smile. And I realized in that moment that even in those moments of grief and perhaps anger and all the other emotions that comes with that, that I was not grieving alone and that I had people around me who understood. And the one thing I recognize with my daughter is that if I'm sad, she was my strength in that moment. She would always create space for me to cry, and she would hug me. Or if it's her turn, I'm strong and I'm wiping her tears, and we just kind of power through it. So in this very season, even if it's a mom, even if it's a pet, because sometimes our pets hold such value in our lives that you remember them and you would make little, you know, ornaments with their faces on it, or you can take out your child's favorite ornament because that's something that I did too. I would always pull out the very first ornament that I had and I would just make sure that it has a place on our Christmas tree. And so, although you grieve, there's still light there because their spirit is still with you. And you know that for me, I would always say to be absent is to be present. I was always conscious of that. And so just honor the memory as it comes, but not stay there for too long. So what about you? How did you deal with your grief during that time of this very festive season?
I I think I kind of compartmentalized it a bit so that this season didn't get swallowed up by it. It was an and. Yes, there was this loss and there was this remembering, but it changed from remembering the loss to celebrating the person. Around that
Mm-hmm.
time, even now, I begin to think of my friend's widow and making sure she's okay and their daughter together. So I start thinking about them. I'm noticing now that in the thought towards them, it's to surround them with love, to surround them with life, to celebrate what was created while they were here, to find moments to be thankful. So I think for me, it's a purposeful opportunity just to thank Abba for the friendship. I knew during the initial stages there was some guilt there because there were so many things I could have said, but I didn't get to say. There are opportunities that, oh my goodness, I could have loved you more in this way, or all those moments of the ifs and just recognizing that I actually know that they died in God. So there's also this continuity of his ongoing, he's just ongoing life that's in him.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me even more of the beauty of Christ coming. And while I don't believe that this is the time of year he was born, it becomes a marker to create consciousness. So when I was asking the Lord about how am I navigating this season and my thoughts around it, it became more about why not use an opportunity to create an awareness that he is, whatever that happens to be, because many other people are going to claim months. Why not create
Yeah.
awareness for the fact that the living word became flesh and God came to man as Emmanuel?
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that's
Mm-hmm.
confined to a month because we live as the expression of it, but there's these markers within culture that we can use to express a reality that creates an awareness of love's presence. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where I've kind of landed in terms of my internal dialogue around the
Yeah.
actual season itself. And also, it's a beautiful season to recognize shift. So, part of it for
Yeah.
me is a reflective time. I often have more space to reflect on what's happened over the past calendar year, to be thankful for the moments. So, it's yes, there's grief in it, but the grief doesn't hold my heart in the same way. It's turned into thankfulness, and also making sure I touch base with friends who I know if the grief would hit them
Mm-hmm.
harder, their own journey, just to ask how they're remembering or just knowing that they're not forgotten. I think that's a piece of it during the holidays, is to know that the people who have continued their journey in Abba,
Yeah.
they're not forgotten. They're still celebrated, but in a way that doesn't bind you to the moment of grief, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that. And so it still speaks of joy, right? It's this joy that comes, even if you're celebrating that moment, the memory of. It's a burst of joy.
Mhm.
Um, and the song that just came into my heart was Joy to the World, right? And so I love caroling. I love Christmas songs. I love what opens up when we release that sound, and you can see the brightness in people's eyes and on their faces. Even if you don't believe the birth of Christ, you see the representation, you see the plays, you see the Christmas movies. It creates this sense of joy on the inside. It permeates in the atmosphere, right? Like who's not happy or joyful during the Christmas holidays? Even if it's a Grinch, they will let you know that they're a Grinch. But even as they're saying that, it gives them some sense of have a sense of joy to say, I don't believe, but I'm a Grinch. You do believe because you're a Grinch. There's no other time of the year that the Grinch comes, that the Grinch comes out is during Christmas. And so I just love the fact that we can have a conversation around it and just kind of stir up, even though you might have experienced a loss. It doesn't necessarily have to be the loss of a loved one, but if you've experienced any loss, or if you're experiencing the first of anything at the end of the year, and I like to say this, the first is gonna pass, and then it's a second. And so it doesn't take away the pain, but it makes it a little easier. And it's just knowing that, okay, the holiday's coming. I know I'm going to miss my loved one. I know feeling is going to be charged by that. How am I going to respond in that moment? And if I respond by going into isolation for a little bit so I can process and understand and not superimpose those emotions on everybody else, I still have a moment to prepare on how am I going to engage because it's going to come. It comes. All right. And so just having a safety plan in place to say, hey, I know these emotions are going to come up. How am I going to respond to the memory? Or even if someone else says, oh, remember when, and they want to remind you, create space for that person to express that feeling as well. All right. Because when we experience grief, you're not the only one that's grieving. Everybody's grieving the loss of something. It does not have to be the loss of a loved one. It could be of a job. A lot of people are experiencing loss. Um, and it's such a sensitive time of the year. But here it is where hope is, where joy has entered into the world. He is alive in our heart. And I just love the fact that you said lights. I love Christmas lights. All right. The sound of the Christmas bells and jingling and all of those things is very nostalgic. And so if we engage in just the memory of that joy, it provides us with an outlet to say, I have something to still be joyful for. Some people don't have memories. Some people don't remember. So it's just taking the little things and expressing gratitude for them in this season. Yeah.
So it sounds like the beauty of gratitude, the beauty of it and the
Yeah.
power of it.
Yeah. Yeah. hmm So, yeah. And what's your favorite Christmas song? Let's talk about that.
Hmm. It's changed over the years. There's ones that I liked singing. Oh, Holy Night.
Oh, okay. That's a nice one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Holy Night. The
Yeah.
stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear
Yeah.
Savior's birth.
Your favorite
Yes, I would
Christmas.
probably say Oh Holy Night or Come Oh Come All Ye Faithful. Probably one of
Faithful.
those two. The memory that I have of Oh Holy Night was several years ago. I decided to do like a Christmas play. So at one point I was the arts director for our local congregation. And I decided to do a Christmas play around someone who was skeptical about the holidays and it's all about materialism and they were all negative about it. And an angel comes and begins to show the light of God that was existing in people and it begins to turn her heart to what it could mean. And in that we had these interjections of songs and people would do these solos and share messages and share scriptures that intertwined the coming of Christ with this main character's transformation. And we had it as like an outreach. So it was free for everybody to come in. So people in the community would just come and enjoy the play and just have awareness of the love of God. Anyway, so in that play, one of the songs that we did during a transitional moment was Oh Holy Night. And I had practiced it with a friend. So she was playing piano and I was the singer in the background who was singing Oh Holy Night. And it was this moment in the play where she began to picture the coming of Christ and it was shifting her heart. And I remember it because the key that we sang it in, there's this part in the chorus that goes up. And sometimes I could hit that high D above C. And I remember going, will I get it? Will I get it? I don't know, Lord. I don't know. Just singing Oh Holy Night. And we just get so lost in it. And I hit that high G and it just boomed in the room. And I'm like, Lord, where did that come from? I was like, oh, wow. So everyone afterward
Yeah.
came up like, Camille, you hit that note. I'm like, I surprised myself. But it was this moment. And I remember it not only for hitting that high D, but that moment of worshiping within this play with my friend who was also a singer songwriter with me. And we just had this connection in that moment because I could feel her worship as she was playing and we just got
Mm,
lost. So it just felt like sound was just emanating as we were just having this moment of
mhm.
Oh Holy Night and just singing Fall on Your Knees. I'll
Yeah.
hear the angels' voices. And so that was a memory for me, was just having that moment, hitting that high D, but really
Yeah.
being in that worshipful moment.
Yeah.
And I remember even after the play, because we did it a couple times, was seeing people actually cry and respond to the revelation of his love. And for me, that was a
Mhm.
memory. So thanks for that because I hadn't thought about that for a little while. So that was a Christmas memory that just came back. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. Hitting the notes,
Hitting
right?
that
Fall
D.
on your knees. Oh, that's wonderful. Here's one of mine. My mother, she had a beautiful sound, okay? She would out sing the choir. And so we would go to midnight mass and it was this song, O come, Emmanuel. And I, to this day, it's like my favorite song to sing because I believe I can sing a beautiful ballad too, even if it's choppy. But it takes me back to that moment where I would just, as a kid, just looking up to her, and I'm like, oh, she can sing, right? But just the words of that song, I think I'm gonna play that today. Do you know that one? O come, Emmanuel.
Mhm.
I love, love, love. That's my favorite Christmas song. Yeah. Rejoice, rejoice. Yeah.
Oh,
Emmanuel.
yeah. And it's lovely that it's so centered around the coming of Christ and it's songs that can
Hmm.
infiltrate into people's lives. You may not always think about Christ through other parts of the year. And friends, as you're
Hmm.
listening, what's standing out for you? What's your experience with Christmas? What's your stance currently? And if there was a song that you would sing that's connected with the season, what would it be? Share it in the comments. And if you feel inclined, share the link to the song. I always like to listen to some Christmas carols. I'm that person who'll listen maybe the week before. I don't need a month's worth. I'll listen to a week's worth and feel that I've done well.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. But I just thoroughly love just this season, like I said. It's just this season of love that permeates. You can feel it. I love to watch people open the door for another person or pay it forward at a grocery store or something like that. And I do believe we can do that all year round, but for some reason, we see this influx of joy and kindness. You're able to capture the character of Christ during Christmas, during the Christmas season. Your people are kinder, they're more giving, they're so much softer. Like you've said, you've seen the other side of it. And I think I have too, where people are tussling over bed sheets and different things like that. And it takes away from just the true meaning of why he came. And I just believe that in this season, we're being drawn to remember the meaning of Christ and just remember to keep it Christ centered because he's the reason for the season, okay? He's the reason for all seasons.
There you go. I like that. The reason
Yeah.
for
So
all
it's
seasons.
season. Yeah. So in the spirit of the pepper pot and the spirit of the bread, it's all centered around Christ. Your mac and cheese. There's a special way Caribbean people make their mac and cheese where it's a hint of pepper in there and the mustard. And however they cook, it was always so delicious. So I will always think of just family food and laughter and fellowship during the Christmas holidays. So that's the driving force for me. It's not about the gifts. That's great, but let's just keep it centered around Christ and recognizing the reason for the season. He
Absolutely.
was the light that came in. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
friends, we've been enjoying talking about this holiday season, and our conversations go by so quickly sometimes, but just wanted to bless you. We know that this season can mean many things for many people, but we just wanted to speak life into you, joy into you, take some moments to remember some of those childhood things that brought us back to the love of God, the joy of God, the gratitude that can well up inside of us when we consider the gift of Christ. For those of you who may have had some negative experiences, know that you're not alone. Know that your journey doesn't have to be isolating. Know that there's those like ourselves who are just here to create community and share the love of God with you and to just speak life into you. So we bless you during this holiday season. We bless your family. We bless your going and your coming, your rising and your down sitting. We bless your sound. We bless your heart. We bless everything that is connected to you because it's connected to the Father. And so we just wanted to speak life. We wanted to speak the joy of the Lord. And if it's on your heart to do, in the comments, just share something that you wanted to bless another friend with. Being online, we don't always have an opportunity to be in person and engage with each other, but sharing a note, sharing a comment that speaks of life, speaks of love can be exactly what somebody needs to hear and to receive in this season. And I also think we're just going to put links to some of our favorite songs just so you have something to
Yeah.
fill your atmosphere with. So know that you're loved, know that you're valued, so much so that God gave the gift of himself in flesh to bring us back home and to be back in relationship with the one who's loved us all along. So part of what it means to be kingdom made for me is to remember that you were so valued that the gift of Christ was given for your restoration into relationship with Abba. And Chris, what would you like to share as a final sound, a final word to ring out in this Christmas season?
What I would like to share is that just to call you to remember that just as Jesus came in as the light of the world, so are you. We are the light of the world. We are his light, right, in this dark world. And as the season comes and moves and goes, it's ever changing. We remain the light, we remain the salt. So let our light shine so that men can come to know the Father that we serve. So that's what it means to be kingdom made. Hey, I'm a light. I am the brightest light on the Christmas tree. Okay. So just be light this season, be joy, carry the love of Christ, and be the light wherever you go. So that's what it means to be kingdom made. It's remembering that we are the light as he left the light in us so that we can shine.
Amen. And on that note,
Amen.
friends, Merry Christmas. Enjoy this
Yeah.
season, however it looks like for you. Know that you're loved, know that you're valued, and stay mobilized. So until next time,
Mhm.
bye for now.
Bye for now.